A doctor must be psychologically fit for the job, able to make decisions under tremendous pressure, able to break news to anguished relatives, able to deal with death on a daily basis. A great doctor must have a huge heart and a distended aorta through which pumps a vast lake of compassion and human kindness. Hi everyone, welcome to Kitaabi Cabins. I am Kritika. Some of you were requesting witty and funny books, so here I am with a few recommendations. The first book is This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. Now, Adam Kay is a British comedian, former doctor, and this book is sort of a journal entry, diary entries. The book name actually goes This Is Going to Hurt, Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor. The whole book revolves around the experiences that Adam Kay had when he was a junior doctor and a trainee. It's almost like a memoir. He has shared his experiences. So he tells that most of the trainees and junior doctors are supposed to keep journal entries, और वो हर दिन on call होते हैं या जो भी daily experience होता है they are supposed to write them down. क्या किया, कैसे किया, क्यों नहीं किया, क्या करना चाहिए था, etc. as he quotes for reflective purposes. And he used to do that daily. So the book is almost like a journal entry, but so much is happening because सारी कहानियाँ hospital wards की हैं. And his take on, first of all, the profession, being a doctor and looking at lives so fragile on a day-to-day basis and how it changes you as a person. Plus, he's British, so his dry and dark humor is quite evident on text. And my favorite quote from the book is, "A doctor must be psychologically fit for the job, able to make decisions under tremendous pressure, able to break news to anguished relatives, able to deal with death on a daily basis. A great doctor must have a huge heart and a distended aorta through which pumps a vast lake of compassion and human kindness." He talks about such fragile emotions, and the thing with the book is it's not fiction, it's not made up, these are real stories. So whatever is happening must have happened already that you are reading. So it's very nerve-wracking almost because some of the cases were really tragic. And the thing is that the cases are tragic, but I don't know if it was coping mechanism of Adam or what was it. He finds humor in those tragedy and has written them down in such a way that you cannot help laughing out loud. Apart from the jokes, he also encompasses some important topics like medical economy, and he's very brutal about NHS. And the book gets a bit sadder in bits and pieces where he talks about why he decided to quit the profession. And there were some major events where he was rethinking his future, like this is not a place for me, and not just because of his inability to adjust in that environment, but because of various other factors. And he has talked about that maybe there were lack of funds, or there was shortage of the staff, and so much regressive environment for doctors, which is not often recognized and not often talked about. And he has said about all of that once. Of course, he was pretty brutal about it, that now I have left the profession so I can talk about it. I also want to listen to his audiobook, which is narrated by himself, Adam Kay. There are a lot of medical terminologies, but if you've survived Grey's Anatomy and Good Doctor, it will be just fine. And he has given like small notes towards the end of the page. So whatever disease or some complex medical term he is using, he's explaining that in a funny way, of course. And he writes, "I'm all for explaining terminology as we go along, but if you do not know what a stethoscope is, this is probably a book to be regifted." Well, fair enough. Another book is Meandering Soy by Kwan Hong. Now, this is not a conventionally funny book. It is laughable at times, and sometimes you will be laughing at yourself, and sometimes you will be laughing at humans in general. It has almost a philosophical touch, and I can't even tell you what the book is about because it is about so many things and yet nothing. It is almost hovering around the thought process of a human, from this stupidest people to the brilliant of minds, as we call them, based on different notions. and he's sharing different anecdotes of literary geniuses, experimentalists, physicists, and he has been a researcher himself. He's looking at world in almost binary forms, and he's using those mathematical and scientific terms to define some good or evil as 0 or 1 and bad and good. And he sees the cultural values or the morals and ethics that revolve around a human life as a continuum or more analogous in nature. It is thought-provoking, it is self-reflecting, it deals with how humans sometimes, even the brilliant of mind, cannot decompose a problem into smaller problems, or more importantly, solvable problems. It's a very interesting topic, like what a problem is. There could be something, but I might perceive it differently than you. And even the definition of the problem would be different. So of course the solution will be different. So it's very philosophical in nature, and it's like you will be laughing at the absurdity of a human mind. That's what it is. And it's a very small book. If you're short on time but you were still craving some intellectual stimulation, then it's a good book to read actually. The other book is Bor A Crime by Trevor Noah. I've talked about this book before, where I was doing a bit on light heart reads. It is a light heart read. It goes bittersweet for a moment because it is talking about some heavier topics as well, racism and crime and violence and slavery, of course, because when Trevor was growing up in South Africa, then he was actually born a crime because he was born to a black mother and a Swiss father. So the color of his skin did not match any one of his parents, and it was a crime for him to walk outdoors, and he could not be seen anybody on the road. So he was always hiding inside. The book is so funny. Of course, Trevor is funny, and I have for me, Trevor Noah exists two versions of him, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. There are a bit of differences in the way he approaches subjects, and in a funny way, I think he was much more hysterical in the pre-pandemic era. I mean, who wasn't? And so I would request you pick up the book, but please do watch a bit of him on Netflix or The Daily Show. Just listen to him talk for a while. And I say this because once you do, you'll get familiar with how he talks or how he frames sentences. And once you're reading the book, it will almost feel so personal to you, as if कि वो किताब सिर्फ आप ही के लिए लिखी गई है, and as if कि Trevor Noah ने आपको first draft दिया है पढ़ने के लिए, and it will feel very intimate. It will feel like he's sitting right beside you and narrating the story to you. So trust me on this. And of course you'll go for Trevor Noah in the book, but you'll come out pretty much admiring his mother for sure. क्यों और कैसे, ये आप खुद figure out कीजिए, बुक उठाइए. The other book which I'm reading currently is Diary of a Somebody by Brian Bilston. इसमें क्या होता है कि जो ब्रायन बिल्स्टन है, एक फिक्शनल कैरेक्टर है किताब के अंदर, और वो न्यू ईयर रेजोल्यूशन लेते हैं कि हम रोज़ एक पोएम लिखेंगे. हमारी तरह और आपकी तरह उनका रेजोल्यूशन पूरा नहीं हो पा रहा है. There is lot of things happening in his life related to his wife, his son, and office, and blah blah blah, and he's trying to do his best to keep up with the resolution that he has kept. And the book has this, again, is more of a diary entry thing, क्योंकि resolution है, वो रोज डायरी उठा रहे हैं कुछ लिखने के लिए. So it is a fictional story, and it has diary entries, and it has poems as well. So it is a concoction, and somehow the result of it is very likable and amusing. I find it very funny. He's a very popular poet, and he knows his way around the words for sure. I've just started it, and I already find it hilarious. I should not be doing it, but because it's a diary entry, so I'm like curious कि May में क्या हुआ, March में क्या हुआ, so I'm like jumping from here and there. Not a good way to read a book. So I'll just stick to the proper sequence and read it. So these are the books that I'm reading currently. There are two of the books that are in my to read list, but I think I'll pick them up later because I'm also reading much heavier books right now, and I think I'll need some lighter versions of some books after that. So, two kitabe hain which are promised to be very funny. The one is Please Daddy by Patricia Lockwood. It is promised to be very funny and amusing. And the second is The Secret Dream World of a Shopaholic. It also goes by the name Confessions of a Shopaholic, and it is a series of 3 books, this one being the first. I picked it up from a book haul in my society, and it had yellow pages, so I like yellow pages, so I picked it up. So these are a few books. Read a little, laugh a little, and I will see you next time. Thank you.